thank you for being here. There's seats up here. You guys are welcome to come closer, please. I'm Julia Marsh. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sway. Yes, please, 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 come. And we are a California-based materials company. Seaweed has existed on this earth for over 1 billion years. And during that time, it's provided Earth with nearly half of our oxygen. It's habitat for life underwater. It's food for those on shore. And at Sway, we're really seeking to extend the generosity of the ocean and of seaweed by pairing it with advanced material science. Seaweed is a very popular topic at this event. How many people are already very familiar with seaweed and its possibilities? Show of hands. Everyone. These are my people. So seaweed, just for those who may not know, there's maybe 12,000 plus species. They come in reds, browns, and greens, and they contain natural polymers called agar, alginate, and carrageenan. It's being used currently in toothpaste or in cosmetics, but it can also be used to create new materials. And at Sway, it's our belief that if we're going to replace plastic, shouldn't we kind of adhere to the generosity of the ocean by mimicking it with a regenerative resource? So our belief is new materials should replenish life, and they shouldn't require arable land or fresh water or much time to grow. They should also be optimized for existing infrastructure. They should plug into existing systems so that we can work with plastic manufacturers. We can enable a rapid path to scale. And then really, we don't think we can recycle our way out of the plastic problem. We need to create materials that come from nature and return to nature rapidly. And so I'm going to share with you some examples of how we've embodied those 3 principles over the past couple years in real-world scenarios. Maybe some of you have seen at our exhibits, seaweed materials are a real thing. They're not an academic project. They're not a myth. They're real, and they're here. A great example of a place we've focused is on the poly bag. 180 billion poly bags are used in the fashion industry every single year. Basically, none of them are recycled. They gum up recycling machines. They float out of landfill into nature. And so we wanted to create a replacement for the poly bag that could last just as long as it was needed and then decompose as quickly as possible. And that's what we did with our first wave films, which are really special because they are, well, they're primarily seaweed, and they're certified 100% bio-based, which is pretty special in the materials space. They're also home compostable. And we can use these films in all different kinds of ways, but again, we've been focused on the fashion industry, so we've launched these polybag activations with brands like Noah, where they wanted to tell the story of seaweed and their commitment to new materials, but again, the bag decomposes rapidly after it's been used. Another activation we did was with a footwear company called Alice Gray. They wanted to custom blue color to signify the ocean, and we used this printed area to tell a story of seaweed and the importance of new materials. And the benefit is that it's not just folks at ocean conferences talking about seaweed, it's mainstream folks. It's like, athletes and people who care about other topics besides the ocean. Another example of a very pervasive and annoying type of plastic are product windows. These are so annoying, they're everywhere. I invite you the next time you're at the grocery store to just observe how they're everywhere. And my personal opinion as a designer is that we actually don't really need product windows in most cases, but a lot of brands do want them to keep materials contained, loose items, hygienic. You often want to entice the consumer and say, this product is worth buying, look at how pretty it is. So in those cases, we do need product windows, and we decided it would be a great use for our transparent film made from seaweed, where, again, you have this beautiful clear window, and then you can pair it with other bio-based materials, paper, to create the construction. And then after use, it can be composted, or it can be recycled, or you can do both, and it creates that optionality and accessibility that we would otherwise need. These materials are also at our exhibit. We have the ability to customize those boxes. So I'll give an example of how we've worked with a specific brand. Swimwear companies are great targets for seaweed packaging. They already have that love of the ocean, and it's possibly the most poetic use for a material that comes from the sea. This bag is probably not that enticing. If you ordered a recycled swim trunk, you would hope that it didn't show up in a non-recyclable bag. So this brand wanted to fix that. We collaborated with them to create this custom box where the Seaweed window provides a vision inside to the swim trunks. We tell the story of why it's important. And again, it marries that love of the ocean with the seaweed material to, a material that actually disappears after it's been used. So that's a few examples of how we've already worked with our materials. I'm going to share some new technology with you now. Who knows what these are? Most of us who've been to beach cleanups have probably seen these, yeah? Nurdles, also called pellets. These are everywhere, and part of plastic's toxic legacy is that these trickle into nature all the time. So if we want to solve for plastic, we need to solve the pellet challenge. This is also the way that all plastics are made, is with pellets. So if we want to scale and actually beat these materials, we have to design for that system. Since Sway was incepted 3.5 years ago, we've been working on a pellet technology with really difficult criteria. The material's got to be made from seaweed, it's got to perform, it's got to be home compostable, and it needs to melt through these systems at the same rate of traditional plastics. The problem is that seaweed doesn't melt. So we've spent the past several years figuring out how to make it do that, and we call it thermoplastic seaweed resin, or TPC for short. And this material is so cool, guys. It's really cool for a lot of the reasons that I shared before. It is certified 100% bio-based, which is very rare in the plastic space. It is majority seaweed content, and it is home compostable. And this material can melt and flow wherever plastic goes in those existing systems. It can be extruded on its own. It can be combined with other compostable polymers to create special new products. So really the possibilities are endless. If anyone is in plastic manufacturing here, I'd like to talk to you. Or if someone knows someone who's interested in making bio-based materials, we really want to connect with them and expand the possibilities of seaweed in the mainstream. Where we're starting is with our next product, using TPC as a base. We make something called TPC Flex, which is made with TPC. It's home compostable. But unlike that original film, it's a little more durable, so it can withstand international shipments, it can withstand moisture, it can protect a broader array of products. We're currently, again, focused on the poly bags. Sway won first place in the Tom Ford Plastic Innovation Prize last year. As a result, we're working with some of the biggest fashion brands in the world, like J. Crew and Burton, whose volumes are substantial and who we can now have a path to meeting with this really scalable technology. And it's all very fresh. We just shared this news for the first time a few weeks ago to a lot of positive reception. People like seaweed. It's part of the mainstream, mainly because they understand that there's this value proposition beyond just avoiding pollution. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit and just talk about our impact and sourcing strategy. Because it's not just about plastic. It's about how we responsibly scale the seaweed industry to support new materials. And at Sway, we're primarily focused on amplifying the climate benefits of seaweed cultivation, contributing to research around ocean health. If anyone would like to work with us on that, we would like to work with you. Supporting coastal livelihoods, of course, divesting away from petroleum and pollution, and then contributing nutrients to soil after use. Very quickly, the seaweed industry has been around for thousands of years, hundreds of years. Seaweed has been farmed for all kinds of industries. We're really trying to support farms. We exclusively work with ocean farms. We have relationships around the world where we're amplifying the benefits of how seaweed can really not require any necessary inputs, no pesticides, no arable land, and then actually contribute to ocean health over time by mitigating ocean acidity, grow quite quickly, 20 to 30 times faster than sugarcane or corn, support emerging blue economy regions, and then we're also even working with invasive species. So please, chat with the folks at SOS Carbon who are harvesting sargassum in the Caribbean regions. We're valorizing this material as a feedstock for new materials. So lots of potential here. I've gone on maybe a little bit too long, but really our vision at Sway is that new materials shouldn't just replace plastic, they should be restorative, creating value at every step of the supply chain from sea to soil. And if that's a vision that you share, please reach out. Again, we've got a booth. My co-founder Matt's here, and we'd love to have you join us on our vision to sway the future. Thank you.